Hi, everyone. Welcome to another installment of I F and Love Cinema. Today, we're going to be talking about the 2022 movie Carrie Williams, starring R.J. Seiler as Sean, Donald Elise Watkins as Kun Lei, and Steven Chacon as Carlos. Emergency is not a movie for conservatives or the easily triggered because it is a movie that very much tackles race and racial dynamics within America. You know, and it's a very it's a very dark and when it comes to that aspect of the movie, right? It's a very serious sort of like examination of those sort of racial dynamics between especially the police and black people. Given the just the rash of unnecessary police violence against them and all that. And that's just one aspect of the movie, and that is a big aspect of it. But one of the things that makes this movie so great, is that that's like one of the layers to it, right? Like on top of that, you have this coming of age sort of comedy, kind of in the vein of Superbad, right? But they're in college instead of high school. And the basic idea, you got your standard characters who like one is a geek and the other one's more of just like a dork and stuff like that. And that's Kunle, played by Donald Elise Watkins. And he's sort of the more buttoned up, straight laced guy, and R.G. Seiler, who plays Sean, and he's more of just like the geeky kind of like trying to have a good time kind of dude, And they have a roommate called named Carlos. He's played by Steven Chacon. And the premise is actually really fascinating, right? Well, it's not fascinating, but it's really good. The idea is that towards they're on their last couple weeks of college. They're all going to be going their separate ways, and so they want to go and have like this big party, before everybody goes on to the next chapter in their life. And just as they're all about to leave, they discover right in their living room, nobody knows how she got there, an underage white girl who is drunk and passed out and is vomiting and stuff like that. And the movie then, and it's a great premise because it's great for a comedy, right? It's good for a comedy and shit like that. But the fact that this is a movie starring two black dudes and a Mexican is what sort of allows the movie to be funny, and it is a very funny movie and stuff like that. It has some comedic moments, but it's also a great setup for to explore race and police violence and how all that kind of relates to each other. There is also the subplot of the girl's sister who is looking for her, and yeah, well, I don't want to say too much more than that, but you guys can figure out if you know anything about movies, plot A, plot B, whatever. Maybe I'm saying too much, but what's really great about this movie, on top of all that, you got your layer of like a serious like um movie that seriously explores race and all that. You also have your coming of age story, and then just like the icing on all that on this cinematic cake, it's just like these richly drawn characters. The three main characters of this movie, are very well drawn out, very well realized, and stuff like that. Especially the way that it comments about racial dynamics. Sorry, my dog's chewing something. Hey, what are you doing? No. Sorry about that. So, anyways, as I was saying, the thing is about the characters here, is that especially the way that the movie explores how people who are more black people who are more kind of like, what's the word I'm looking for here, um who aren't as threatening to white people, who are the more kind of like Barack Obama types, how their view of the police is different from someone who probably grew up in a more urban environment and stuff like that. And that's also a very yeah, like altogether, man, altogether. I don't want to like repeat myself here, but like altogether, this movie really does a good job of fleshing out the characters, and by the time the movie is over, you really feel you really feel like you know them, like they feel like real, fully fleshed human beings, and and that's really what what makes the movie memorable. That in and of itself will make the movie memorable. But what this movie says with the central conceit of three people of color who are literally just trying to help trying to help an underage drunk white girl who is just passed out. And the whole movie is them just trying to get her to the hospital. And it's also a road trip movie in that sense, because it's a movie that takes place as they're trying to get her help in the hospital. And just like in a road movie, there's the scene with the police, and that when that part of the movie hits, it really, really, it doesn't take like any jarring tonal shift, because the movie was setting this up all along, right? But the way that scene plays out, like, it really puts you in that in it, like, it really creates that sense of like helplessness, right? The absolute fear, the injustice of you know having the gun, like having the police draw a gun on you when you've done nothing wrong, and what's so great about that scene in particular is that, like, you realize that, like, this happens every day, you know this happens every we only hear about the ones who, like, actually get shot. Who knows how many more just get the guns drawn on them and stuff like that. And, like, you realize just how fucking frightening that must be. And that, again, in and of itself, would stick to anyone. Sticks to you. It's memorable, right? So, given all that, this is just like a movie that punches you in the gut in many different ways, while also making you laugh. And by really, really, just, man, like, it really puts you in these guys' situation, not just in the scene with the police and all that, but you know, but, like, God, how do I say it? But like, you really feel like, because that's not the only fucking thing they explore. Obviously, it's a movie, right? Like, that's not the only like sketchy situation they find themselves in. But, like, the movie does a really, really good job of God, what's the word I'm looking for? Making you feel immersed in that situation, and you're always like being like, what would I do in that situation? Or they should do this, they should do that. Which is, again, another sign of a really engaging movie. Overall, I think this was a fantastic film. Absolutely recommend it. I know I kind of casually veered into some spoilers here and there, so I will put a spoiler tag up. But, I really hope that if you did watch it all the way through to this point, trust me, there's a lot more to this movie than what I've talked about. And given the sort of genre constraints, I think anybody who knows stuff about movies would kind of figure that's going to be an inevitability. But yeah, overall, I cannot recommend this movie enough. This was a really emotional a really entertaining emotional roller coaster. Let's leave it at that, right? So, anyways, that's gonna be all for today. Thank you for watching. I've been Ed. You guys have been awesome. Take care.